Hello guys, my name is Nicholas, welcome to my channel, and today I'm going to share with you some tips and tricks in how I ace my MSRA examination. So if you don't already know, the MSRA is also known as the Multi-Speciality Recruitment Examination, and basically this is a computer-based examination where postgraduate doctors like me would take when they are trying to apply for their relevant specialities of choice. In my case, it was GP and anesthesia. Now, to start off, the paper totals about 170 minutes long. There's actually two parts to the papers. You start off with the professional dilemmas paper where you attempt first, and it will last for about 95 minutes, and this is followed by the clinical solving paper which lasts about 75 minutes. There are actually pilot questions in each paper, but you will not know or you will not be told which questions they are. Most importantly, there is no negative marking, so you should be attempting all questions. So the professional dilemmas paper is very similar to the SJTs that you would have done in medical school, and I screwed up big time. I managed to score well this time, so can you. Now, let's talk about the first part of the professional dilemmas paper, ranking. Basically, you will be given a clinical scenario and you will be told to rank from A to E, A being the most appropriate action and E being the least appropriate. The way you would normally score in this question is basically how far your rankings are from the ideal answer. Now, the trick to scoring the best in this question is not wasting your time figuring out how to rank all 5 answers, but basically figuring out which is the most appropriate response and which is the least appropriate response, and then filling the rest in between. To me, in my experience, this is by far the most time efficient way to manage these questions. So in the second part of the professional dilemmas paper, it's basically multiple choice. You will be given a scenario and you will be given up to 8 options to choose from. Basically, you have to pick 2 or 3 depending on the question, most appropriate actions to take in a given scenario. By the way, all of these questions are taken from the MSRA guide, and I will provide you with the link down below. So, some of my personal advice when preparing for the professional dilemma paper is also to read up on the GMC Good medical practice guideline, and also when practicing the questions in the question banks, try and understand why some options are ranked higher than the rest. The next bit of the examination is the clinical solving paper, and this basically tests your ability to apply clinical knowledge into practice. It covers a huge area of about 12 different topics, and these topics are well designed to fit and to be of relevance to a foundation year 2 doctor level. Do take note that the knowledge that you need to have in this paper are common issues and diseases apart from a select few, as the paper is also tailored for candidates who wants to do general practice. So don't be bothered wasting your time studying the weird and wonderful diseases in these topics because they are highly unlikely to come out. Now, there are 2 different types of questions in the clinical solving paper. The first you would encounter would be the extended matching questions. You will be presented in this case a list up to 7 to 10 different options which will be used for several questions. You will need to select the best answer which fits a given clinical presentation. You will also be able to use a response more than once when responding to the set of questions. Second question type in this clinical solving paper is the single best answers. In this case, you will be asked to select a single most likely answer for one clinical presentation. This will be fairly straightforward to you guys, as most medical schools use this style of questioning in their medical exams. The first tip that I'm going to be giving you in acing the clinical solving paper is practice, practice, and practice. I can't emphasize the importance of doing the question banks. It's all about muscle memory and pattern recognition. The reason why I'm so confident in telling you this is because when I did the professional dilemmas paper, I only had 20 seconds left to spare. However, when I did the clinical solving paper, I did have more than 1/3 of the time left. So if we could use pattern recognition and muscle memory of the brain to help you with the second paper, it reduces your mental stress and mental load so that you will be less prone to make more mistakes. Another important point to take note here is please do not leave out any topics at all. For me, I was struggling very hard with infectious diseases, but I had to go through it anyway because every mark counts during this examination.
American trypanosomiasis. Still don't know what that is.
Now, this is going to be a big question that everyone's going to be asking me. Dr. Yeo, which question bank should I use? Now, there's a wide variety of question banks online. My advice for you is to pick 2 to practice on. If you have a friend who's going to take the examination, it would definitely be a great idea to cut the cost and share the subscriptions. There's only 2 question banks which I've tried, and that was MCQ Bank and eMedica. So if I had to recommend one question bank, it would be the MCQ Bank. I'm not sponsored or anything, but I felt that the questions in MCQ Bank and also the question structures were very similar to the exam itself. MCQ Bank would also provide you with little notes after each question, which gives you a quick snapshot on the topic of choice. I also found the professional dilemma section of the MCQ Bank very helpful because it gives you in-depth explanation on why certain options rank higher than the others. Let's move on to how the MSRA is being scored. These are the banding results for August 2022 intake. Your scores will be standardized and placed into bandings based on your score range. Band 4 being the highest and Band 1 being the lowest. If anyone was thinking to do anesthesia, the cutoff point was 532, so approximately an average of 266 in both papers, which is in the mid-tier Band 3 score in the exam. I managed to score 299 on the clinical problem solving paper and 279 on the professional dilemmas paper. Right, I'm just gonna give a quick snapshot on how do you book the MSRA. The exam is hosted by an external party called Pearson VUE. You will be notified on when you can start booking for the examination, and you will just have to go create an account, go in, log in, and find a test center to book your dates. You would then turn up on the day itself. There will be ID checks before allowing you to go into the room to take the examination. There will be a tutorial before you start on how to use the computerized test system, and there is also an optional 5 minutes break in between each paper which you can use. The most common question that people will be asking me is when did I first start studying for the MSRA? Before I started my MSRA preparations, I did ask a few friends. They gave me a wide variety of answers from weeks to months. I took the examinations around the 13th of January, so I only started studying at the end of November, which gives me about slightly over a month to prepare for the examinations. I did average about 1 hour per day, and that's because I'm still working, so I do have the long day shifts and the night shifts. But before the examination, I have completed at least 2 rounds of the MCQ Bank and 1 round of the eMedica. It can be very useful if you guys were to open a small Microsoft Word document when doing your studies and just throw in little notes or little things that you need to remember, and then just have a look again before you sleep or when you wake up the next day, or maybe before your next study session. This will help spatial repetition and also boost your pattern recognition and also muscle memory of the brain. By the way, that's my own theory. There's no evidence base around it, so believe it in your own discretion, alright? I hope this video serves as a useful guide for your MSRA preparation. Everyone works differently, so find out what study method works for you.
So don't be coming back to me saying, Dr. Yeo, I bought the MCQ question bank, I bought the eMedica, I did it twice, I did everything you said, but I didn't score as well as you did.
Anyway, thank you for sharing your time with me in my first YouTube video. It's still very cringy whenever I hear my voice and see my face on a public platform. And I hope to share my experiences as I move to Scotland in August to start on my dream career in anesthesia. So if you like this video, please give me a like, please give me a subscribe. And also, if you have any other comments or any video suggestions, please leave it down in the comments below and I'll try my best to make some time for it. Peace out.